Hello and welcome to At the Redline podcast, where we talk to people that have lived interesting and amazing lives and talk about that. My friend here is Mike Hollister, a longtime friend of mine. We've been hanging out for a bunch of years, and I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today. Whoa. Change. He was just asking, do I edit? No, I don't do any editing. So we've been pals for 30 years?
Over.
Yeah. Long time. We've been hanging out for almost as long as I've been in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
So, long-time friend. Why don't you start with telling us your story?
It's a long story.
It is a very long story, but it's super interesting.
Where would you like me to start?
I tell you, why don't you start at how you found God?
That's interesting because when I was 16, I went to Big Sky, Montana with Campus Life Youth for Christ.
Nice.
And there's a comedian speaker there. His name is Ken Davis, which we all know who he is. And I got saved there. And then the following winter, we went up to Riverview Bible Camp.
Cool.
And as I wandered around the camp, I saw this little chapel in the woods, and it brought back a flash of memory that I was actually in that chapel when I was 12 years old, gave my heart to Jesus then. So I have selective memory.
Oh, how cool is that?
Traumatic stuff. Anyway, so it sparked that. So whether I was saved when I was 12 or 17, I don't know, but I've been asking Jesus to save me forever.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a cool story. And it sort of reaffirms something that I remember Joe said a long time, that we are being saved, right? That our salvation is an ongoing process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cool story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. It was kind of fun because I actually, at 12 years old, I went to that camp with Fourth Memorial Church.
Fourth Memorial, John Repsold.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine, and we'll be excited to hear that story. Cool. Well, you've had a ton of jobs, ministries, careers. Why don't you describe your current work that you do? I know you've got a craft business that you run. You do ministry at church here in town, and that you also have a job. Whatever you want to talk about as far as, what you do vocationally and in the area of ministry or service to the Lord or to his church or to the people of God or to outsiders. I don't care.
Well, I was in the school system for 14 years as a paraeducator with special needs kids. Loved the job. But I turned 60 years old and I decided I wanted to do something fun until I retired. So I got a job driving truck.
Nice.
So I drive truck and I transport automotive parts and farm equipment. It's a wonderful job. I just love it. And then I have a part-time side business. I build a lot of wood products. I cornhole boards, tables, everything you can imagine.
Okay.
Currently, I'm working on a sign for an Airbnb out in Hayden, Idaho. So I do a lot of that, and I love doing that. I just built a vintage camper from the ground up. So another one of my projects. But as far as ministry goes...
Let me stop you right there. I know I'm being pushy. I've been told I'm pushy. But what I want to do is give you a chance, before I forget, to let people know how they can get a hold of you if they want signs or cornhole boards, or
anything.
I know you do.
I make anything.
He does skateboards. He does cool, crafty stuff. I don't know if you have a website or someplace.
Well, I primarily, name is Sky Pilot Creations,
Okay.
and I'm primarily on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is where I get a majority of my business. So I don't have a website. I don't really need it.
Okay. So your name is Mike Hollister.
Mike Hollister. Sky Pilot Creations.
Sky Pilot Creations.
On Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. All right. Moving. I'm sorry I did that to you, but
it's okay.
We'll pick up where we
left
off.
I'm used to it.
He's used to it. We've been friends a long time. Okay.
Anyway, so as far as ministry goes, I work doing campus safety at Life Center Church a couple of nights a week, and then on Sunday mornings. And then Sunday afternoon, my son Isaiah has started a church, and I'm part of that, helping that in any way he needs me to help him with.
Okay. Would you like to put a shout out for the new church?
It's so cool. Yeah, Isaiah Hollister, and the church is Christ Our King. Younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
He's my son. He's 30, and he's got about 70 people coming right now.
Nice.
We are meeting in the Emmanuel Presbyterian Church.
Cool.
And it's just going super well. Those people are just wonderful. They've invited us to have breakfast with them, to have potlucks with them, to play bingo with them.
You're talking about the church that exists in the building that you guys are planting into.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
And they are just wonderful. And they're all older. And I can say older because they're all older than me.
Nice.
Super, super neat people.
Okay.
And they want to incorporate us into them as much as possible.
Cool.
So Isaiah is really challenging. I'm his dad, and he teaches me something every week.
Nice.
It's not fair. I should be teaching him. But I walk away going,
oh, grasshopper.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a great church. Great church.
Cool. So, moving on. In your journey, who would you most like to thank and why?
Has to be my wife.
She's pretty amazing.
She is. I've been a goofy guy for a long time. I was a competitive fighter for a long time, so I had that mentality. Very difficult to live with. She's tolerated me for over 34 years, put up with me, and we are best of friends.
Cool.
We have worked through a lot of things, and I really owe a lot to her.
Getting a little emotional there.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's so cool. Most people say their spouse, right? I mean, I would certainly say my wife. I would want to thank my wife. But assuming your wife, definitely that's the first one we got to say. And obviously you want to thank God. That's a given. But okay, I wonder if there's someone else out there, maybe little known or maybe little thought about, that you'd say had a big impact on.
Well, there's been a handful of people. I'd have to say Roger Osborne, who has been a mentor for me for, as long as I've known you.
Yeah. It goes without saying that he would say me if I wasn't sitting right here and doing the interview. No, Mike, just let me say it for you. I know you would want to. No, go ahead.
I know you've been a big part of that too. Even back in the Mark Seacrest days.
Oh yeah, Mark and Wendy Seacrest. Yeah. Three amigos.
Oh, Rory Axel.
Nice.
He was my campus life. Crazy story. He and his brother Terry, identical twin brothers. Yeah. Were my campus life leaders. When I was in high school, we still go to the same church. We still hang out together. They're amazing.
Nice.
They had a huge, because I went through the death of my mother at that time. I was emancipated by the state because I had no relatives that claimed me, and they were there for me.
Nice, nice. So, at the Redline podcast is primarily an outcropping of the Redline, coaching the Redline, which is my business to do coaching, spiritual direction for clergy. And the reason I'm doing this is really just to give me an opportunity to talk to people and specifically around the area of burnout and overload. And I ask everybody, and you're free to answer or say, well, I don't have a problem with burnout. I've never experienced burnout. But if you wouldn't mind sharing your experience with burnout and overload, busyness and hurry, how that's been, a part of your life, or maybe you've overcome it and would like to talk about how that played out over.
I do have a little bit of a different perspective on burnout, and
Than me.
than probably most people, because I thrive on pressure. I really do. When I have a project that's got to be done yesterday, I thrive. I get it done, and that's when I do my best work. But I realized a long, long time ago that burnout, because I've been in ministry for years and years over the years, and I watch people burn out and leave ministry and go on to do other things. And I did some real soul searching on that, and I firmly believe that burnout is selfish. People become selfish. They start thinking, this isn't doing it for me. This isn't what I want. This isn't meeting my needs, not fulfilling me. It's all about me. But burnout, if you have the perspective that your life is ministry, giving of yourself, then I don't think I've never struggled with burnout for that very reason. Because and there's been conflicts with that, of course, like conflicts with my family because I'd be doing ministry and I'd make them do it with me. So and it caused some stressful times, but in all generality, burnout is really selfish.
Can you give us maybe a practice or a way to look at life to alleviate what you're talking about? I mean, I'm not exactly. I think I understand what you're saying.
Well, I will say this: if you start to struggle with burnout, it's too late.
Okay.
Because it's just gonna.
Well, let's back up just a little and maybe define burnout. I guess I'm not talking about I'm in a cave, sucking my thumb and in the fetal position, or totally just spun out of control and left my wife. I'm talking about busyness that never seems to end, always on the go, unable to say no to people.
You have to learn to say no to people, which took me a long time to do, but because a lot of times you think, well, I'm a Christian, I can't say no.
Yeah.
I if I'm doing what God wants me to do, I have to say yes. I have to say, but that's not true.
Right.
That's not true, because your own health, your own physical, mental, spiritual health, you've got to be healthy to be able to help people.
Right. And then there's the primary care, right? Your inner family, your own soul, and these other outsiders are asking for your help, and you have to be able to have the margin or the wisdom to say yes when yes is right, and no when no is right.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Hope that answered your question.
It's a blur. It's a big area. That's one of the reasons I'm excited about the podcast is I think you could go in so many different directions with burnout and overload and busyness and hurry and even the culture, right? I mean, just the never ending ability to have access to information. And
can I throw an example at you? This is my schedule in life, right? In this season of my life, I get up at 2:15 in the morning. I go to work. I get off around 8, 9, or 10 in the morning. I go home. I sleep for maybe an hour. I get up. I do my woodworking. I do the other projects I have to do. And then my wife comes home from work, and I got to have time with her. So I stay up till 10 o'clock at night so that we can hang together. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I work at church from 6 to 9, so I'm there. Mondays, I've been going to a men's group, but I've recently stopped that because I might be starting one with Isaiah's church. So I'm constantly busy, but I don't get burned out on the schedule because it's not about me. It's mainly like I could go to bed at 5 o'clock and get up at 2 o'clock and go to work and everything be fine. But I got to have that time with my wife, and we hang out together all the time. to me, I would be more dissatisfied doing that than being so busy and being with her and going shopping and doing all the things that we do together.
Yeah.
Um, if I was more self-absorbed, not that I'm not self-absorbed, but I would say, well, forget this. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
But
do.
I would rather give myself to her, give my time to her,
Yeah.
and my time to my jobs, my time to, because the Life Center job is ministry. I love it. I get to pray with people. I get to talk to people. I get people coming in for various groups that are hurting.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. It's really
Talk
cool.
a little bit about your ministry at Life Center, because I don't think that on its face, most people that would say security is ministry, but you have a really cool story about that.
Oh, it's so much fun. I basically sit at a little table and greet people as they come in. I get to tell people, which rooms they need to go to if they're new or whatever. But I take advantage of trying to learn their names and, how you doing? And I can tell when they come in and they're broken and they're hurting, I can see it.
Yeah.
And God just kind of creates opportunities for me to say, hey, how you doing?
Nice.
What's your name? And tell them my name. And before you know it, I know all these people and I know what's going on in their life. And hey, how's that going in your life? And we can pray together. It's so cool.
That is so cool.
I just love it. I spend more time talking with people and praying with people than securing.
You're the pastor who's not a pastor on staff at Life Center.
I love it.
That's amazing.
It's so much fun.
So, man, I wish we could talk more about that, because that is really cool. What are you looking forward to in the next season of life? What's right in front of you that you're just jazzed about?
Really, we're starting to face retirement.
Ooh, the R word.
The R word. And I'm actually really excited about it because I can continue to do my woodworking. But we have, technically, we have 6 children. 5.
Technically.
5.
There's a technical child?
Okay, our 6th one is adopted. Pseudo-adoption. And we're having grandbabies like crazy.
Oh, nice.
Like crazy.
Everybody says it's amazing. I don't know.
It's really fun. It's super fun. Cool. And we have a daughter and husband. Her husband are in New Jersey. They've got 3 grandkids. We've got a lot of married couples here that are having grandkids. We're having Isaiah and Lauren are adopting from India.
Nice.
It looks like they get to go get her in the next couple of weeks.
Praise the Lord.
So, I mean, got a lot of cool stuff going on. So we want to make time to be able to go hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to travel the country in a little camper I built.
Nice.
See family, visit national parks, just kind of, and we'd like to do some missionary stuff.
Cool.
So we've always wanted to do that, but we knew we'd have to wait till we retire because financial.
Yeah.
So
good.
Yeah, that's kind of the direction.
Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
the last question I wanted to answer.
What was that? What are you looking forward to?
What the coaching's done.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Let me help you out, Alec.
How has coaching helped you? How has coaching helped you?
Funny
so
you should ask.
One of the problems with that question is that by rule, I'm not supposed to say who my clients are. I can't out you as a coaching client or spiritual direction client. So it's not a question that I can come right out and ask unless I've been given permission. But since he gave me permission, how has coaching helped?
And the reason I brought this up is because when he gave me the questions late last night, no time to
very
prepare,
much like me, just saying.
No time to prepare. I thought about that question and I had a super good answer. And that was, my life was filled with trauma from the time I was a little guy to adulthood. And I technically have trauma-induced amnesia because I cannot remember a majority of my childhood. But you and I sat down and we went through each season of my life. It was 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15. And you had me close my eyes and think back and think about that time in my life, even if I couldn't remember specific details, and just pray for forgiveness for myself, but forgiveness for the people that wronged me or harmed me or did whatever.
Yeah.
And we literally worked through all the way through my adulthood. Yeah. And that had an amazing impact on my self-esteem, myself. Yeah. I realized I could let all that stuff go, and it really freed me up a lot.
Oh, nice.
So I really appreciate that.
Glad.
It was a very, very healing, healthy thing for me.
Cool. Just to be clear, that's not coaching or spiritual direction, but rather deliverance, a style.
But it was through a coaching.
It was through a coaching conversation,
Mhm.
but that created the space for that. But just to be clear, that's something that we do, or I should say, I do, as far as deliverance that I've learned how to do, and it really is powerful prayer, but pretty simple, right? I mean, it wasn't.
It was, but it just made me remember and think back and let go of things and
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
No. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I would love to have your son on the podcast. Just saying.
I'll talk to him.
Pastor Isaiah.
Isaiah Hollister.
Pastor Isaiah Hollister.
Senior pastor.
You're welcome to come on at the Redline podcast. All right. That's all for now.
All right.